Hello. Hello, Jane.
Hey, hello.
Thank you so much for joining me on our Best Way to Save the World podcast. And we're going to be talking about filmmaking, because that's what you do a lot of. And I'm going to ask you questions that I'm really keen to hear the answers to, because you've made quite a few films. And you also run the lovely, can you hear me okay? All good?
I can,
Great.
yeah.
I'd love to hear more about Creative Queens, which I am happy to be a member of, and just tell people more about why you created Creative Queens and what it is.
Creative Queens is a group of women over the age of 40, any age up to however old they could be, 100 or whatever, um, because we have a very funny industry. And though there's a lot of initiatives now about including older women writers, older women actresses, there hasn't been, and it still needs a lot of attention. So we need to write more with, we, even younger women can write about them, so that an older woman is perhaps the romantic lead, or she's an interesting, complex and nuanced character. And we need people to actually invest and commission these works, because there's definitely an audience for it. The 50 plus, in fact, is one of the biggest audiences, have more time on their hands. Sometimes they're retired, um, if they're older than that, perhaps, and they've got money. So, why not make things that are for their taste? And I also get a little bit sick. There's a lot of, throughout the world, there's a lot of youth and beauty are kind of worshipped, and that's not everything. So I think we as women need to address that, and we still have our stories to tell and our talents to offer.
Yes. So that's the aims of the group. But you don't just have a sort of group with some wonderful aims. You actually do quite a lot for us. Can you sort of share some of the advantages of being a member? Apart from the fact that it's extremely affordable, which is also very helpful.
Well, we try and have. I only started it last year. It's a year old, so it's growing. And the advantages are we have a weekly meeting. It might be online because obviously people are spread all throughout the UK. And I tend, because I live in Kent, I tend to hold meetings in London. But some people have come down from Yorkshire, Scotland, whatever, to a meeting. And so we have the once a month meeting. We have competitions, which I'm trying to, every year, I'm trying to encourage, various people to provide funds or provide a prize that is useful to us. First of all, I started actually including everybody, but now I'm just going to stick to women writers, or women actors, depending on what the competition is going to be about. Um, then I've also started an initiative to speak at Cannes in the British Pavilion, uh, to also not just to say what I think, but I want to hear what other people think and how I can help people. We have. I'm trying. I've initiated a new YouTube channel, and I hope that will grow so that people can put their promos on there, their show reels, something, an introduction to themselves, and hopefully people will look at that and that will give them work. I've also got a directory which hasn't got all our members on. Some perhaps don't want to go on there, but that again would be something I would encourage other members and members of the public to go and look if they needed, a particular crew member, a writer, to collaborate with another writer to, find an older actress that was suitable for a part that they'd written. So we've got those. I've had a few collaborations with film festivals where we get a discounted price. and things like We Audition, which is an actors platform where you find a partner to do your self tapes, things like that. And it's ongoing. I want to find and more things. I did have a collaboration with Herflix, which is a platform, a smaller version than Netflix, which is all about women's films made by women. Um, but not probably enough of our members have made feature films. So I'm going to push that in the next newsletter to see if there's enough to give to the founder of that to make our own channel. So we would have then a Creative Queens channel on Herflix.
I think that's a great idea. I'm looking. I've got my 3 shorts, but one's an immersive audio. But I'm trying to create a visual to go with that, so make it into a sort of, I don't know, a short film that might fit under the experimental category or something. But basically, by putting them together, you can get I think it's over 40 minutes, isn't it? You can submit it as a movie to Amazon Prime, for example. Um, and but so I'm definitely going to be sending my trailers for your YouTube, because I don't think I've done that. And the other thing is is it mainly writers and actresses at the moment, which I have to say is a great combo, because you organise table reads, don't you, which is so useful for writers.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yes. So that is a very useful thing because writers can hear how their words sound. And often they do sound a little awkward, or sometimes they're beautifully smooth running, but that helps for them to make small adjustments, and then actresses get a chance to, act out on a cold read. And most people find it fun. We've done a few of those and we aim to do more. We've got one at the end of August. So do look at our website, www.creativequeenscollective.com/events, and you can sign up to that for free. It's an online one, but the more people attend, the more fun it is.
Yeah, I think I find it incredibly useful, because also it's useful as a writer to get the feedback from actors, because they'll always have a different take on the drama than maybe other writers who you might have been relying on feedback from. So it's really, really useful.
Yes, that's true. I got a lot of. I'm not sure that you came to the last one, but I got
Unfortunately, I
a lot of
missed it
feedback.
sadly. Yeah,
Yeah,
sad.
I got a lot of feedback. I actually had some of my own scripts in there, and it was very interesting to hear the one they liked the best, and why, and the things they didn't like, and my choice of cast as well. So I told them who I was thinking of casting, and that was interesting. Yeah, and helpful,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I definitely want to try and make the next one. And with your own films, because you've made quite a lot of films, could you kind of give us a sort of brief rundown of your journey from what made you make anything in the first place, and then how you've ended up where you are now?
I don't know. I've sort of, sometimes life just takes you along, doesn't it? I think I was a teacher of drama at school, and so I was doing more theatre-based productions, if you like, and holding workshops in the summer holidays and stuff like that. And my younger daughter, at 14, decided she was going to be an actress. She thought she would be. So I was going along to all these auditions and learning from just sitting silently and watching. And then I started volunteering myself and saying, oh, do you want some help for free? And sort of learnt like that. Obviously, I had a background, so it wasn't like from the beginning, but I had to learn everything myself,
But
made
you
lots
had
of mistakes.
what was your background? Were you it was an actress? Was that right?
No, well,
No.
I started as a child actress, yes, but I didn't carry that on, and I was a drama teacher. So, yeah, I've always been kind of in the. My parents were my dad was a jazz musician. My mother was a very old fashioned term elocution teacher and a drama teacher. So it's always been in my background as well. But yeah, and then I just thought, well, I'm going to do it. I'm a very can-do person. So if I wanted to be, I know it sounds ridiculously arrogant to say, but if you wanted to be, like, if I wanted to be a pilot, I just find out how to do it and do it kind of thing. And that was what I felt about making a film. I thought I'll just go and do one, see how it all goes down. And I made my first film, Blackberry Girl, which is still on the YouTube. It got 120,000 hits. And I thought, oh, well, it must be all right, blah, blah, blah. So, then I went on to make another one and it kind of grew. So I think I've made, I don't know. I also make, I think it's maybe 12 or 14 longish short films. And then I've probably, I found this, it served me very well going through lockdown, but I found this thing of writing a scene, and I've written hundreds, literally hundreds. I'm slowly putting them up. And then people would pay and come and act in them. And then I would put them up as a film on my IMDb. So they're like a tiny short, but you learn, and then you can use bits of those when you're writing, a longer version. So I did that. Then I've done 3 features. I've been learning continually, and I think you always will. And I think now the most important thing I've learned on the next stage, and if it comes right, is about packaging your film as a feature film. So you have to package it and cast it. And in real terms, that if it's a sort of decent sized budget, that would cost maybe 40,000, which of course people haven't got. So that's called development money, and that's so hard to find. So that sort of puts a layer on, people being successful. And then once you've packaged and cast, I think there's tons of investors there. They're not individual investors, they're under a financier who puts everything forward for you. And that's what I'm trying to do at the moment.
It's that enormous leap, isn't it, from I'm going to go out and make stuff to I want now to have a decent budget, make sure everybody gets paid up front. None of this, although it's very useful to have some opportunity to have a bit of any profit that might come, but to be able to do films on that particular level is a really big jump, isn't it, compared to just having a script and a bunch. It's amazing how many people just love to make films, isn't it? And that you can, you've got so many under your belt before you even kind of got into this stage, this sort of step up that is, as you say, is very difficult because you have to try and get money up front. So firstly, with the ones that you've already made, how did you manage to get those made? Sort of generally speaking, what's your advice to people who they've I guess it's to start with a short because it's easier to find some money to at least pay for the catering for that, for example.
Yes, I think I've written I think it might be actually on the YouTube as well. I've made it into a kind of web thing about how to find money for short films. I find that it's wrong to say easy. Nothing's easy, but I've kind of got the formula for that now. So apart from crowdfunding, which I've had lots of disasters at the beginning, but I got quite good at that. But there's about 12 other ways that you can raise money, and getting sort of between, you can't really make a feature film, well, in my opinion, if you do everything yourself and you're not being paid then, and everyone's helping you. Of course, that's a great way to do stuff, and I've done it. You need money, and it's like everything. You can have a Mini or a Rolls Royce. The more money you have, the higher quality everything is. So I think no film really, a short film, can be made for under 10,000, and an ideal amount is maybe 25. That's what I feel now. But of course you can make one for 2, and I've made them for 2, 2,000, where you do everything. The other thing that I was very lucky with, and it's quite openly I don't reveal who they are, because I was teaching, and this is an advantage of being an older woman, particularly a woman. I knew who some of the children had parents who really wanted them to succeed. And you can go to those parents and say, look, if you back my film for 1, 2, 5, 10,000, you can only do it to the ones who you think are good, not a rubbish actor that's spoiling the film. And then put your daughter or son or lover or whatever it is in the film. That's a very good way to get money.
That's brilliant.
And now,
yeah, absolutely brilliant. I'd not thought of that one. I mean, I guess
yeah,
it's old as the hills, isn't it? The old days
yeah,
when the producer in Hollywood would go, "You're using this actress." That's and because they're providing some money, you just go, "Okay." So, but I think this is such a
yes,
great way to do it. I love it.
yeah. So that, and now I have people approaching me as well. It's not every day, but they do approach me and ask to be in it. I met one in Cannes, but actually it didn't work out in the end, because I think people have got to realise. So that particular person, without naming names, was an older actress, not older, but she's not a teen, a little young teen or something. The mum probably thought, I'll put in a couple of thousand and I can get her a main part in a £1.5 million budget film. But really, for that, you need to put in at least 10.
Yeah.
To get, and you certainly won't be getting the main part. You'd be getting a small other part. And it depends how much you want it and what people are prepared to pay. But yeah, I've definitely had that in the past, but I have also turned people down, Susie. So
yeah.
I had a man, an American, wanted to give me 50,000 for a film to put his girlfriend in. But no offense to anyone who's got all these things, it's just not for me. She was with the lips and the hair and the eyebrows, and she just didn't suit the character, any character in the film. But obviously she was his, girlfriend, and he wanted to help her. But yeah, I don't know whether that's suitable actually to put in.
To say, right, I'd be rushing off to write another script. It's a different. Well, how about this one? No, as you say, you can, might get a really good short for 50, if you're 50, but it's hard to make a movie on that. So that when it comes to getting the films out there at the other end, that's the other sticker, because you make your I'm very difficult with shorts to kind of know what to do with them quite often, and there's no real money in shorts. But with features, you can get them onto Amazon Prime. You can sometimes make some money. But how have you found that whole getting them out there, the distribution side, and what have you learned from that? Have you always self-distributed, and is that something that you'd rather not have to do anymore?
Well, I have another channel that's monetized on YouTube. It's only just been monetized that I'm putting shorts on. I would say that a really good, 100,000 plus short views might earn you £100 a year on YouTube. It's small, but if you've got sort of 5 or 6 hanging about on, on your hard drive, why not do it? So there's quite a few places like Short Shorts, which is a TV channel. If you can get into their sort of film festival-y thing, or it's not really, it's a selection process.
Yeah.
Channel 4 take shorts, BBC 3 take shorts. A lot of people do take them, but you've got to win some accolades first for them to notice. So I don't think there is a great deal of money, but it depends how you approach it. So you can go and have little showings where you charge money on the tickets. So you and I could have one in Sussex, Kent, in various places, and encourage people to come. But that's a lot of work, and I'm not sure about the returns on it. So I think that
by the time you've paid for the hire of the theatre and stuff, it's quite tricky. But it's great if you've got your own theatre. I think there's just very little out there to support independent filmmakers, particularly with the distribution side. So with the with features though, what have you done in the past, and is that any different to what you're going to be doing in the future?
Yes, I think The first feature, I had an absolutely terrible sales agent, but he was recommended by my co-producer, so I went with it. But things they can do is sit on your film because they're useless, and so a time period goes by and it doesn't go out there. They can sell it in dreadful deals, because once you've accepted the MG, that's in the minimum guarantee that they give you, a few thousand maybe, not loads, you're tied into their contract. So you must make sure things like it's not for 7 years, it's which they'll fuss and fume over, and it's not for and you have to cap their expenses. So someone I know has capped their expenses at 15 and they think that's a great deal. It's not a great deal. I cap mine at 2 because, they say, oh, we need it to go to Cannes, we need it to go to here and there. But if they've got 10 films at Cannes, why do they need 150,000,
Yeah.
You have to be so careful because everybody's out to take a piece of your film and you end up with nothing. So I think it's really important to know stuff. So I put my film on Film Hub, which this same first film, because I was fed up with what was going on. That's very poor as well. It's not a
Yeah,
great
I've heard.
return.
I believe it seemed to be
Yeah.
quite good a little while back, but it's kind of the reputation's gone down a bit, which is a shame because it's great to have this idea that you can put it onto a distributor and it just goes out to all these places and money comes in. It's a shame that that's turning out to be harder to do these days. Are there others that are coming up through that you come across that you think could be as better than Film Hub potentially?
I don't know. No, I don't particularly know because I can only speak from experience of that one because I've gone on it. But my original, so my sales guy sold the first film to an English and a UK and USA, the most valuable territories for us. I'm on this 7-year contract with him, and he managed to get me on Tubi, which is growing now in UK.
Very much so.
Amazon, Apple, Roku, all those things. That's just the beginning. So returns from Apple or Amazon might still only be a couple of quid a quarter. So what the most important thing which I've learned is marketing, and I'm using Rosa Camero. She did some really great films like and now I'm thinking of them. The what's that Dracula one called? The very famous young film about the werewolves and the Draculas, and with Robert Pattinson. And
that one. Oh, I know what you mean.
dreadful. I can't remember. But she did that.
Yeah, Twilight.
Twilight.
Yes.
Yeah, she did a few things like that, and she's very good. Now, she said of your budget, 20% should be for marketing, because the more you spend on marketing, the more you get back. So you need people to drive other people to your Amazon site, or you just flounder in there and nobody knows where it is, and etc. So you might say, oh, I'm Amazon, oh, I'm on Apple, but it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything unless you've got people there. So on these latest films, I've put in, not always 20%, it's not 20%, but I've put in quite decent amounts to cover a much larger marketing. Because if you think that some people maybe had a 5 billion film and they spent 5 million on marketing, and that's what got them, to where they are. So that's very, very important. So that's what I've learned. And I'm going to try.
Yes, that's a good one. And so we got your 20% on marketing for that budget. But for that budget, how do you raise? Do you use tax credits, for example? What are the ways to that you've used to pay for the films to get them made?
Well, you can't use tax credit up front. You can say, oh, I've got some money, and people say, is it the tax credit? But my husband's an accountant, so I've learned how to do those myself a long time ago, and I've done quite a lot of them. They're very easy to do, but time consuming. It's a bit like doing a BFI application. It's the same kind of thing. And you obviously, that is now, it's up to about 30% of your total budget, because things like marketing aren't included. You can't include them. But private investors are a great way to do it. Pre-sales, which you only can get if you've got an A-lister or a very high profile person. Private equity, A-listers, grants, if you can get any grants, film tax credit. You have to sort of make it up from lots of different places, really.
But if you know you've got 30% of the tax credit coming back in, is that the basis of your private investors putting some money in because they know they're going to get a return earlier, or is it just simply that they have more confidence in the film getting finished?
Well, everybody can have a film tax credit. Everyone can. But no, that doesn't go back to them. So usually, in order to fund them, that film tax credit would go to anyone who will defer payment, because it's a guaranteed payment.
Yeah.
And your accountant will work it out, because they take off. You can't have accountancy fees, lawyers' fees, marketing, certain things in there. And then you can borrow against that. So you're kind of borrowing. There's gap funding people who will lend you the money so that you don't have to defer, but they want a slice of it, obviously. Or you can get, like, a lot of post-production houses will do the work against the film tax credit. Some actors will, or, it just depends on where you can chat to people and get kind of their confidence, I think. So yeah, no, you can't just get it in advance. So you've got to pay bills, haven't you? So you can only use it for people who are willing to defer against the film tax credit, and you have to give them, a signed thing to say that you're paying them from the film tax credit. Now, the other thing about the film tax credit, because I've done loads of them, literally loads, is that on the BFI and the HMRC sites, they say 6 weeks for this part and 6 weeks for that part. Actually, together, so that should be 3 months. Actually, it's more like 6 months. So you've got, that's all got to be factored in.
Yeah.
And some people won't wait, so they can't be on deferred because they start moaning and groaning. So yeah, it's all a big juggling act, really, and that's a producer's job. The producer's job is all that kind of stuff.
And what made you produce? Was it necessity, or was it something that you actually really love to do? Necessity to get your stuff made, basically your own films made.
Yes, necessity at the beginning, because I did everything to start with, gradually learned everything. It's important. I mean, I don't know everything about the camera and the lenses and what have you, but pretty much everything else I do. I don't know anything about VFX. Well, I know, but I don't know how to do it. And yeah, I think I do like any job if somebody will pay me. So if I can see, on your own work, if you're a producer working away, you're spending hours and hours and hours prepping this film and you're not being paid, you think, okay, that's, maybe an end result for me. But, if Joe Bloggs came along and said, will you do my film and be the producer? You can be paid when we get the money. Well, the hours and hours and hours you have to put in, in order maybe never to find the money. I mean, you have to be pretty wealthy and pretty well established before you can actually do that, because who makes, also if you take on someone's film, who makes the pitch deck, who makes the marketing plan, who makes the business plan? There's all those
Yeah.
things. Who makes the poster? Where does that money come from? Unless you get development money, and then maybe you would.
And I think more and more writers, and I certainly do this, have an intense relationship with Canva.com, and we,
Yes.
even if we're not graphic designers, we make pitch decks. We do so much towards getting something not maybe fully packaged, but in a state where a producer or director or an actor can see the vision really clearly, because they're hardly ever going to read the script, at least not until it's at a stage where they've already decided that they're really interested. And I think that's a surprise for a lot of writers, how some producers may never have read the script if they've come on board and there's the finances. So it's the marketing is, I agree with you. It's not just something you put in the budget, it's something you do right from the beginning, learning how to pitch. And all of these things, of course, or at least certainly some of them, perhaps with the pitching, it's be great to do more of that practice in Creative Queens as well.
Yes, I think
So,
that's important. And actually, you've brought something to the fore which I'd love to speak about. A friend I had, I think she's not speaking to me at all, because I said, actually, nobody reads the pitch. I don't need to rewrite my script because nobody hardly reads it. So what you do need the script. Well, it sort of goes like this, up a higher end. So I've got like an 8 to 10 to 12 million film, which I'm trying to do. So first of all, it's all to do with the pitch deck and your pitching ability, to speak. So I've got a financier for that. So I don't know if they've ever read it, but I don't think they do. And they certainly don't read any updates, and it's changed quite a lot. So they don't read that. Then I had to get a proper CD, casting director.
yeah.
And she did read it. And I've heard that some casting directors send it out to, script assessors,
Yeah.
where you get that coverage marks and stuff like that, and they don't take it on. And then she's sending it then to the actors. Now, I think A-list actors, they're obviously going to read it. That you don't just give them a little bit like you do lower down the thing. They want to see the whole script and know who's directing and producing and blah, blah, blah. So they could turn it down. But what I think is the psychology of it, if it's come from the CD, I think they just take it that it's fairly good, unless it's absolute trash, and they can see that it's dreadful. So I think they'll take it. The financier takes it, then he sends it to the investors once you've cast it. They, as you say, they don't want to read the script at all. They just want to read the synopsis, and they want to know that you've got these fantastic cast and that someone's behind you. So it's a kind of weird, I don't know, sort of process, really. And it's very sad, as you say, for the writers who think that everyone's hanging on to every word of their script. Then from there, that script will be changed by me as the director. Not changed massively, but it will have, director will say, well, I don't like this bit. Could you take that out? Or could you add in a few lines here? It'll be changed by the actors.
Yeah.
It could be changed by the editor. Doesn't like one bit, so they take it out. So,
And
it's
the budget as well. You've got the producers or line producer going, does this have to take place in that particular place? Or can we do it all in one place? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's like selling an idea. Of course, your script's got to be good. Definitely. And another thing I just wondered, because I know you've got a wonderful amount of accolades and awards. Do you think they help you?
Well, definitely the Nickel semi-finals last year, reaching that was like a miracle to me, and that
That's great.
but the most important thing about it was my self-confidence, and it just, especially, I'm an older woman. I've come to this late, although I've got a background in film and TV. I'd come to writing very late, and so it really was like a sort of a message from the heavens to like, well, keep going for a bit longer, don't give
Mm.
up yet. um and that confidence has meant I've sort of, I'm not at all subtle. You can't probably see on my background properly here, but I've got it on all my backdrops. It's on, I use it all the time, but it's really so that I feel bold enough to approach producers, and to say, you know, that to me it means she could write. That's, it's like a shorthand for that. And that's, but it's more of a confidence thing than anything. um and with the short films, I mean, obviously when you do your first shorts, any accolade is so excited, and now I'm more circumspect about which festivals I put them in for, and then whether I, my ambition is to get one that's BIFF or BAFTA qualifying, because those are, I think, quite
Hard.
worthwhile, and they're very hard to get into, but they're worthwhile. But making the short films, of sort of learning the craft of filmmaking, and like you, I end up doing a lot of myself producing, which I do love, but oh my god, it sucks the time out of you, and it is very time intensive, so it makes it harder to have time to write, which is really what I want to be doing mostly. But making those shorts has been an incredible learning curve. It's really and also I love being on set. I love being part of the whole creative process, and not every writer does. Not some writers do not want that at all, so it's not right for everyone. But for me, it's been a really important part of the journey. But I'm at that place, I guess similar to you. I don't want to go out and make a feature just on a wing and a prayer, and getting bits in here. And I want to be able to go, this, you know, it's a contained budget, it's a good script, get it packaged, get everything on board, and raise and get some money raised. But I don't, you know, I admire you so much with how you go out there and get the money. It's a very time consuming thing. I would rather be, I love bringing together the team, but that part of it is quite intense. And it's not that I would not enjoy it, it's just that I really want to spend more time writing. So I think it is, as you were saying earlier, you can do everything, but there comes a point where you really want other really good people to do their jobs, and to be able to pay them, and to be a collaborative team to make these movies. That's what I'm aiming for. And I yeah, and I don't want to, I could run out and make so many things and try and do it like a web series, and I'm not saying I won't, but my focus right now is trying to get things that are commissioned, whether it's for TV or uh, their producers come on board, and they have a shopping agreement and they raise the money. So that's my focus on my sort of journey with this. But I do really admire you for going out and doing that, you know, building those relationships, building that trust, getting those people to put money into your films by hook or by crook. I think it's a real gift, and it's one I would happily avoid doing myself, but I'm happy to do all the rest of it because it's
It's
really hard
taken
work.
ages, actually.
Yeah.
It's taken ages to so I went to a very swish party in Cannes
Mm.
where a lot of investors were, and I have a certain method of picking them out, you know, knowing who they are, because you have to go up and talk to them and blah blah blah. I'd say 50% of them at Cannes are a waste of time because they forget you. They've seen so many people, they're not bothered.
Yeah.
But anyway, I enjoy all that. Now I've got more confidence in knowing what to say and what to do. Um, yeah, I think it's, you need a lot of drive and a lot of push. And I know that actually getting things in television is a lot harder.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I was going to say is that I've joined PACT. I meant to join a while ago. It's a producers group.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, there's another one called British Commission or British Intelligence or something. No, that can't be British
No.
Intelligence. It's British Commissioning or something. But these groups actually get together and so did the Birmingham Film and TV Market. They get together people from the BBC, Channel 4, Sky, blah blah blah, that you can get right up to,
Wow.
and make a pitch direct to
Yeah.
them. Now to get those is really really hard. So I'm going to Durham. It's a long way, but I'm happy to do it for a 2-day packed thing
Oh wow.
where they've got BritBox and BBC and
Mm.
Channel 4, and you can choose 5 to pitch to. Well, you choose 7, but you get 5 out of the 7 or something. So these are the things that I feel you have to do.
Mm.
Let me just think what that thing is called. Let me just look on my.
That's very exciting. I hope you're gonna make sure we all. Yeah, I'm sure you'll let us all know at Creative Queens how all of that goes, because
Yes,
it's about positioning yourself and going and being very clear on what you do and do it thoroughly. And so the amount of time and energy that you're doing there, I know that's beyond. I just don't have the capacity for that at the moment, and to do all the writing that I'm doing at the moment. I won't say never, but I'd much rather hang out with producers like you, Jane, who are already doing that. So because
thank
I've
you.
got but I going back to what you're saying about marketing, for me, for example, with the shorts, two of them are definitely potentially proof of concepts for one as a TV series, one as a feature. So I'm about to share those where people see the trailer. They just pop their email address in if they want to see the
Yeah,
full thing. It doesn't cost them anything, but I'm building a list of people who are interested to
good
then
idea.
go
Yeah,
back, and after there's a certain number of them, and say, I would like this to, turn this into a feature or a TV series, whatever, depending on the project. Would you like to watch it when it's done? Are you interested? Have you any comments? And and build this engaged audience, which not just to kind of then try and crowdfund to them, though that's not a bad idea. But if you need just a bit of extra money to pay the casting director to get things packaged, but more the ideal, and it's a big thing to achieve. I don't know if I will, to be able to say, go to a producer and look and say, look, I've got X many thousand people on a list who are waiting to see
interested.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah, they've got an immediate engaged audience, and this is what some of them have said about the short, and that they are really keen to see in the feature, and just proof of the audience. And I think that's the hardest thing quite often, again, when you're doing a pitch deck as a writer, is training yourself, which I'm trying to do all the time now, is who's going to watch this? Who is the audience? How do you define them in a way that would make sense to an investor or to a producer or to a broadcaster? And I didn't know that those were skills I needed to develop when I first got into this writing lark. But these are things that you've
yeah,
had to immerse yourself in, aren't they?
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. As I said, this lady, Rosa Camero, she's done Ramiro AI, and
Hmm.
it's a bit like Chat GPT, but it's just about film. So
Ah.
on the marketing, you pay so much a month for it, but on the marketing, so what audience would see my film? Could you give me 2 profiles of people? So I do that
Mhm.
now for everything. I mean,
Fantastic.
can you share a screen or not? Is that not
Uh,
possible?
Not on this one, but I'm definitely going to be asking you more about this. Is this an additional members perk for Creative Queens, that we can, maybe you can run a little
Unfortunately,
maybe you
no.
can run a little webinar for us, so you can show us or how it works, and
Well, I don't know whether
get us a
I'd.
discount.
Yes, I suppose. Yes, I suppose. I don't think she'd give a discount because I've spoken to her, but I
Mm.
think I could probably run through it, but not in big detail because
No.
she runs courses and it's a little bit rude
Oh yeah,
to
no,
then
fair
do
enough.
that. I could
How
show you one to one, but that's
how
it.
much is the subscription for that then?
I think it's about 30 pound, $30 maybe, $30 a month.
Oh, right. So it's not, because some of these
It's not.
things are so expensive, and that will literally give you the breakdown of the right, what would be the right sort of audience, examples of that. So basically, the information you need to put in your pitch deck that will speak to producers and broadcasters and and
Well, you
commissioners if
have
it's
to do
TV.
you have to do what you should do in your packaging, which I didn't realize, but till recently, till a year or so ago, you should put in, I'm just trying to see if I can show it on here, but it might not show.
Like forecast, like forecast for income and that kind of thing. Oh,
Right, so
nice.
this is Ferocious.
Yeah.
Hold on,
Yeah, I
that
can
way.
see.
And then it's getting,
Yeah.
so you won't be able to read it, but this is the 5-page of marketing. So just to go through it, you have to ask the questions. It doesn't just give you all this.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
got to ask the questions. Why this film? Why now? The investor hook. Target market. Here are 2 audience personas for the film. And then it's all about them. Horror folklore film influencers. Top film festivals worldwide dedicated to horror and folklore horror. Top horror festivals, top horror conventions, top horror podcasters, top sales agents for horror. So that's all in your marketing, because that's what you're doing, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it gives you all that, but you've got to say what is the what are the top distributors. You've got to ask the questions.
And presumably if you do put in like your log line or a bit any information, would just give factual information, or do you just literally go on, this is my genre, and what kind of information do you kind of put in?
Yeah, you do the synopsis, a shortish synopsis about it, and what kind of, you can put the log line, you can put the genre. But interestingly also, though I'm not keen on it, I am getting more keen on it for writers. Now my brother, he's a CEO of a charity actually, but he did do computers when he was young. He did a degree in computers, so he can program and what have you. Now he told me what you have to do with ChatGPT to revise your script, not write it all, but like to get better ideas. And you have to put this whole paragraph in of, don't do this, don't say that word, don't do blah. He sent it all to me. And then it also says, so I think if you say, my weaknesses and my strengths on a script, and that is very useful, because though you might not agree with them, and sometimes it gets it very wrong, I don't think you should write the whole thing through, but you can correct things. So you might say, you might not agree with this at all, but I'm dead keen on it now. So you might say, the middle act lacks pace. So then you can say, what would you add to make the pace more interesting? And they'll give you some ideas, but you don't have to use them.
But is this the software that you're paying $30 a month for?
No, this is ChatGPT.
I would be very nervous about. I'm happy to put in like a log line or prose, like maybe a 1-pager or something to see how it does it. But even that, I'm nervous. I never put a script in because it steals it. It just steals everything. That's where all that information has come from.
It's coming from. Yeah, I agree.
And is it W Scripted, the which is supporting women writers? They have it's a bit clunky, but when you use their website, they have a proprietary AI that does not doesn't allow sharing. And if any producer downloads your script, it has a thing that stops them from sticking it on AI, because they might stick it on AI, say give me a summary, and it's like, no. That's a no.
Yes.
So it's important to be so it's it would be great if the software that you're using to get the marketing stuff, if they added in this ability to do to do what ChatGPT does, or DeepSeek, which is what I often use, but then you don't, without basically stealing it, because unfortunately that's what the others do, and that's becoming a problem. I mean, think of the novelists who've found their stuff on there, and now there's
elsewhere,
and unions and agents now trying to kind of sort this mess out, which was always there. So I think there will start to be some rules in place, but
Well, I
But
think the
yeah,
Romero AI is just, you just put a
yeah,
summary, a synopsis in. So
yeah,
you're
yeah,
just giving the gist of it.
yeah.
And so there's nothing
But
anyone
also,
can
if
do
it's
with
their
that.
if it's their own one, hopefully it's protected anyway, like the W scripted one is. It's AI, but it's not ChatGPT. It's not. It kind of protects it. So
Yeah.
which I would imagine they do, and if not, I imagine they'll start doing that very soon because other people are catching on now. But it sounds like a fantastic service, and I'm definitely keen to know more about it, because getting those figures, the data from the marketing point of view is really difficult, and to be able to have a kind of reasonably swift and accurate way to do that's really valuable. And again, I think it's something, that writers can't just expect producers to do. The more we can do ourselves, the more likely we are to get a producer who's happy to go, all right, I'm
Yes.
dealing with a grown up here, and off they go.
Yeah.
Have you got any other?
It
Oh
makes
yeah,
me
oh
laugh.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, you can say.
Sorry, it makes me laugh when writers just send you their script, because even as small as I am, I still, they
Mm,
just send their script with really no preamble and
mm.
just say, would you read, would you be interested in this? But nowadays that's not how it goes,
No,
so
I always just say, can you send me a, because I'm a script doctor as well, and so if even with that, I just say send me a one pager, because most people won't, they're too
yes,
lazy. So if they're serious, they'll do a one pager, and this first like 15 pages, I'll read the first 15 pages because that's all I need. To spot any sort of major holes or problems. You don't need to read the whole thing quite often if they're just looking for feedback on a project. Um, so what's your next sort of project, what that you're planning on, or projects? With however
well,
much
I'm
detail you're
working.
able to give, obviously.
I'm working on a few all at once, as per usual, because the one might break and the other ones might flounder, or at this point in time, and probably like you maybe it'd be nice to hear yours as well. But yeah, so I'm working on a period drama which is called Dangerous Demands. I'm working on 3 horrors, and I've resurrected because I've resurrected a murder mystery, um, which because quite a famous-ish actress who I worked with 8 years ago now, and I knew she lived near me. But anyway, she wrote to me and said, "Have you got anything at the moment? I'm looking for really good juicy roles,
Mm.
uh, and I'd like to read some of your scripts, and I have got possible people who might invest." So I've sent 2 off, including this murder mystery. So who knows? She might not like either of them, but it's just
Yeah.
another possibility. And but altogether, I have 12 scripts of feature length or television length pilots or whatever in various stages of development. But and what about you?
This is always like living in this sort of zone of sort of happy delusion with anything could happen. So yeah, for me right now, I'm literally just finishing off the first 3 episodes and a treatment for a vertical drama series of 2-minute episodes, 60 of them. I'm only going to write the first 3, but do the overview. That's to submit to Hayley's Script Angels, is it Studio 21 competition, and I'm absolutely loving this format. So that's having
Yeah,
great fun
the
with that.
challenge.
It is, but really good fun. I've just finished a kind of solid first draft of what I feel is the most commercial, realistic to get made TV pilot I've done so far. That is still something that's my voice, and that I'm actually the way only I could write, because I've drawn from my divorce strategy knowledge of the toxic divorce industry and combined it with a Ministry of Defence police force procedural drama where they've got this. I know for a fact, I mean, they're 50% more likely to get divorced if you're in the police, you've got raging narcissists, difficult people, and it's messy. And from the HR's perspective, that's an absolute nightmare, because they never, they're dysfunctional, and they have guns, so it's not good. So they call in a divorce strategist to try and help do the impossible, really, and try and help them have a better way of dealing with divorce. And obviously she finds it quite tricky. So that's that. I've got that on the go, and I've got two other series that I'd love to get going, but that one is much more continuing series, the same but different, that they're always looking for, different police but a different part of the police, and with the divorce element, which is completely unique, because I'm, as far as I know, the only person who actively does that kind of work in divorce in the country. So I know lots of stories and things that I can bring into it. So then I've also got my supernatural horror, which I'd like going to hopefully submit in January to the BFI Discovery Fund. I need to get a director on board for that, ideally someone who's deaf or hard of hearing, because quite a lot of the cast are. I've got a fantastic producer on board for that, so that's very exciting. And I've got another lovely producer who we both know well, who's working with on potential projects there. So lots of lovely things floating about, and fingers crossed to keep them all going. We're trying to get them all
Yeah.
into a good state, get the pitch decks ready, and not write any more for a bit, and just really focus on getting those projects going. So that's what's keeping me happy at the moment.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. What do you think about how many scripts there are floating about, and then how compared to, I don't know, Stephen Follows. Do you look at Stephen Follows'
Yeah,
work?
yeah, very much so. His
Yeah,
statistics, his data, very
yeah,
useful.
statistics. And how many actually get made per year?
Very few.
You know, how many
Yeah.
features and how many pilots, and against
Yeah.
what percentage is it? It'd be interesting to
Yeah,
know.
I would imagine it'd be quite depressing. And it's one of the reasons I got interested in immersive audio drama. So I've made last year a 23-minute audio drama, but binaural, 3D sound. You have to wear earphones to experience it, but it's very, I think it's very powerful. It's just got nominated for 2 awards at the New
Well
Jersey Web
done.
Fest, which is great. And it's quite, it's quite contentious. It's a story. It can split people, but that's what we're supposed to be doing as creatives. But it's, I think, a really beautiful and important story. But that originally was a short film that I knew that just became evident that politically, so it was just going to be very difficult to get it made. So I made it as an audio drama where it's just a lot more freedom. And it's cheaper, and you don't even have to pay the actors as much. But we made it on location, as exactly the same as if we made a short film, and physically acting out, and you can hear the difference. Nobody's standing in the studio reading a script, none of that.
Mm.
But it's much quicker, and I'm thinking this is a really, if I'm going to make any more shorts, these are the kinds I'd like to make. But you can take your existing content that's sitting around and make it into a really powerful audio production. I mean, obviously, it's a different writing skill. It's not something you just kind of just transfer it to to voiceover. You've got to really rethink the storytelling, because it's a different kind of storytelling, which I really like. But doing something like that, I think that a lot of writers have a snobbishness about audio, because they just think of
Do
radio
they?
foreplay for today. And film school students are not going, please teach us how to do radio audio drama. It's not. There is a snobbishness around it, which is foolish, because actually it's a really powerful something else you can do with stuff you've written, and actually easier to get it made and shared, because you can definitely self distribute it. One of the issues with them, so I'm so glad that they appreciated it at the New Jersey Web Fest. Very difficult to do much with it here, because it's all about short films, not audio, what I call sonic cinema. Because things, when it comes to audio, people tend to think of, oh, I'll just listen to it while I'm driving the car. on the front of mine, I have to say very clearly that would be dangerous. You cannot drive the car because you react to
Yeah.
something and it's behind you. I mean, it is more of a what I would call a sonic cinematic experience, and that's an area I'm quite passionate about. And I think I would love more, maybe even to run some workshops on that for writers who've got lovely stories that they just know it's going to be a real struggle to get them made as films. But the interesting thing is, having now made it, people can hear it. I'm now looking at potentially now getting it made as the film I wanted it to be made as in the first place, because I've established that actually, the sensitivities that are understandable around the subject matter, the audience are like, this is good, this is what we want. Because quite often I think commissioners, BFI, all of that lot can be quite a bit cautious sometimes. They're very worried about not upsetting people, and I think if, as long as your outcome is that your peace, love, and everyone is one, and you're aiming to do something good, you need to tell stories where people are. And so sometimes you are going to have characters that aren't, might say and do things that people would easily want to cancel, but actually that character then
It's just a
goes through a
story.
change. Yes, it's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
So I think that audio gives an opportunity, especially if you've got bold storytelling and you want to push a few boundaries. It's a really great medium to explore because you can get away with
Yeah,
more.
no, that's interesting.
Mm.
I've never thought about doing that. But again, it's like you said earlier on, there's so many mediums and so many types, like if you're doing film, do you do documentaries, do you do shorts, do you do web series, do you do features, do you do pilots? There's 5, and of course that's great for you, but I've just never sort of got into it, and I don't think now I would, but it sounds fascinating. It sounds fascinating to do.
I think it's another strand to. I mean, you're well embedded in yours, and so sort of last but not least, because I think it's important with regard to genre and getting films made. I was talking to a producer recently at networking, and I said, I've got what kind of movies are contained and low budget can get made these days, and what can you then you can sell them. And he just said, not drama. If
No,
anyone says, oh, I've got a drama, it's just
I
like,
know.
forget it. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's what BFI is for dramas, but that, in the real world you're not going to do it. So what have you discovered with the kind of projects that you pick to put your energy behind? Because I heard you got quite a bit of
Well,
horror there. You were saying, was it 3
yes.
horrors?
Yeah, I think horror um is a very useful medium. I don't do slasher zombie. I want to call it elevated horror, so it's more like a psychological thriller.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I really enjoy that, and I think it's the one that you can break out in the most. I've done one horror, but it didn't break out. But Winnie, have you heard of Winnie the Pooh? Winnie
Yeah.
the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
I've been in his lair because the
Oh, have
location
you?
isn't that far from me. In fact, it's where I made my last short film, and is in the woods. We didn't use the lair, but we used the woods there. But yeah,
Oh, in
it's
Hartfield, yeah.
great, great lair. I admit I haven't watched the film, but I've heard a lot about
Well,
it.
well, I think I may have got my
Mm,
facts and figures wrong, but I think it was made for around 2 million, but it returned. Remember, this is gross,
mm.
and the filmmaker ends up with probably 10 to 15 of it, but it returned 534 million.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
amazingly
that
successful. I mean,
it's
they've made another one.
enormous.
Yeah, they've made another one.
Popeye now, haven't
Yeah,
they? Yeah,
yeah,
based around
yeah.
Popeye. So I think this would be great. I enjoy writing
Mm,
horror. I like the dark side. If I could make enough money, of course, then I could fund my other film. I like period drama,
mm.
so I could do that. Just quickly, because I know you're finishing. I suddenly thought of it, so that's why I was sorry if you thought I was being rude. I was just quickly typing
No,
in.
not at all.
So Packed is one where you can get up close, and some writers go to these as well. Not
Okay.
Packed. Some writers go to the film. Birmingham Film and TV Market,
Oh,
which was a
yes.
prize in our last thing.
Yeah, sadly, I didn't
That was
quite get in.
amazing.
Otherwise, I would have been there.
And the other one is this Broadcast Intelligence. Now that is around £90 a month, but they do endless opportunities where you can pitch up to. I've actually done a couple. I don't belong anymore because it's too expensive for me, but I've done a couple of pitches up to people you'd never get in front of normally. You can write to them and you just they just toss you into some slush pile, whereas there you actually do get seen.
That's really
So
interesting. Yeah, that's how people do it.
Well, I'm sure it's networking, isn't it? Once you've got in once, it's so much easier to get in for your next thing. But
it's building your base, isn't it, of so that you can be perceived as a safe pair of hands, really, so by investors. I guess as a producer, that's the most important thing, isn't it, to show you get the job done and everyone gets paid, and that's, which is actually quite an achievement.
Get paid.
Yes, that they get paid.
They get paid back. That's what they look for, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'm looking forward to hearing how things go with your trip up to is that the packed one
Durham.
that you're going in Durham?
Yes, that's the packed one. Yeah.
And hopefully I should be able to make the next Creative Queens script reading, scene reading, table read. Is that what we're doing at the end of the month?
Table read, and then I think pitch is coming after that. So
brilliant.
So we'll definitely do a pitch one. It's very, as you say, it's very, very useful for everybody. I think
the more practice I can get at that, the better. That's fantastic, lovely. Thank you so much, Jane.
Well, thanks for having me. And
when I'll send you out links to where this video is, and if you can pop in the comments any relevant links that you think, and certainly to Creative Queens, obviously, that would be great.
Thank you. That's good.
You take care now. Bye.
Bye.